Hey, sweet faces. Welcome to this week where we are looking at the area of squares, rectangles, and triangles. This first page, we were looking at just squared or quadrilateral shapes. So we're going to start with a reminder of our area formula. Area equals length times width. Cool thing about squares is that we know that all four sides are the same. So even if we're just given one, we're still able to solve. So for this one, 4 times 4 is 16 centimeters squared. 8 times 8 is 64 inches squared. 2 feet just gave us one, but we know that these are all the same. 2 times 2 is 4 feet squared. Again, don't forget the squared because I'm multiplying feet times feet. 3 meters. 3 times 3 is 9 meters squared. A square picture frame with a side length of 5 millimeters. We know that if I have one with a square, I have both. 5 times 5 is 25 millimeters squared. Last one, a square window with a height of 9 feet. 9 times 9 is 81 feet squared. Questions on this one, please bring them with you to class. All right, love bugs, looking at a rectangle to find the area. Rectangle is the same formula as our square. Our area is going to be equal to our length times our width. So our first one, we have 8 yards times 13 yards. 8 times 13 gives me 104 yards squared. 5 times 2 is 10 inches squared. 7 times 3 is 21 feet squared. 9 times 6 is 54 centimeters squared. Looking at a little bit more of a word problem vibe, picture frame with a length of 4 and a width of 10 gives me 40 meters squared. This one has a length of 5 and a width of 8. 5 times 8 is 40 feet squared. Questions on these? Bring them with you to class. All right, looking at the area. Area of a triangle is 1/2 times the base and height. I'm looking at my base and height. I'm going to go through and label them. Base and height so that we have them all labeled. And this tells us base and height. And this tells us base and height. So let's plug them into our formula. So I need 1/2 of 33 times 10. When I do 33 times 10, I get 330. I cut that in half. I get 165 feet squared. Next one is 42 times 50. 42 times 50 gives me 2,100, but I have to cut it in half. Remember, cutting it in half is the same as dividing by 2. 1,050 yards squared. 22 times 23 on this one gives me 506, but I have to divide it in half. 253 centimeters squared. Here I have 12 times 14. Base times height is 168, but cut it in half. 84 millimeters squared. This one tells me that it's 20 times 30, which is 600. Cut in half is 300 inches squared. And then our last one is 50 times 34. Cut in half is 850 meters squared. If you have any questions on these, please bring them with you to class. All right, love bugs. This one was a little icky, a little sticky, and a little bit tricky because I made you find the missing length. So we have some options. Let's start with our quadrilaterals. I know that area is equal to length times width. So I'm going to go ahead and put that formula in here, and we're going to talk about how to work this backwards. And then for our triangle, its area is equal to 1/2 of the base times the height. So we're going to use our algebraic knowledge to plug these in and figure out what's missing. So if I know that my area is 444 and I have a length that's missing and a width that's 12, these are being multiplied together. Opposite is to divide. So if I take 444 and I divide that by 12, I am left with a missing length of 37 inches. Let's stick with just our quadrilaterals first. 625 is my area. I'm missing length and width, but I know that they are going to be equivalent. So I have some options. I know that when I multiply these two numbers together, it becomes 625. So I can think of my square numbers. If I'm not sure, I can do some guess and check, but I would find that 25 is the missing number because 25 times 25 is 625 for that one. Coming down here again, filling in what I have. 45 is equal to a length times 5, divide both sides by 5. I get that my missing length is 9 because 9 times 5 is 45. All right, let's go back up to our, I was going to say squares. They're not squares, triangles. We have an area of 14. It's equal to 1/2 of a base that is missing and a height of 4. So I'm going to start off with working this backwards. So what is 1/2 of 4? 1/2 of 4 is 2. And if I divide both sides by 2, I get a missing piece of 7. I check it. 7 times 4, 28. Half of 28 is 14. Let's do the same thing here. My area is 744. It's equal to 1/2 of 48 times the missing height. So if I take half of 48, and it gives me 24 times the height equals 744. Divide both sides by 24. 744 divided by 24 gives me a missing piece of 31 centimeters. And then, oh, we forgot one quadrilateral. Sorry, friend. Same thing as this guy. What is going to multiply together to give us 144? This one you probably did know was 12 meters because I feel like most of you know that 12 times 12 is 144. All right, questions on these? Bring them with you to class. All right, we're finding the area for each scenario using the correct formula. Let's take a look. A garden is 28 feet long on all 4 sides. All 4 sides tells me I'm dealing with a square, so 28 and 28. 28 times 28 gives me 784 feet squared. Each row in the garden is 4 feet long and 28 feet wide. And I want to know the area. 4 times 28 gives me 112 feet squared. Coming down here, the pitch roof of a barn has a base of 24 feet and a height of 4 feet. We're talking about a triangle. 24 times 4 gives us 96, but we have to cut it in half. 48 feet squared. Pasture is 37 meters by 42. So we're going to do 42 times 37. We get 1,554 meters squared. 2 more. Flat screen TV, that is 44 by 25. 44 times 25 gives me 1,100 inches squared. Last one, slice of pizza. We're talking about a triangle here. Has a base of 9 and it has a height of 14. 14 times 9 gives us 126. Don't forget to cut it in half. Gives me 63 centimeters squared. All right, sweet faces, that brings us to the end of this week. If you have questions, bring them with you to class. Have a good week.